Some players change scoreboards. Some change record books. And then there are those rare figures who change the emotional temperature of an entire sport, who make the game feel louder, sharper, more urgent simply by stepping onto the floor. Caitlin Clark belongs to that rare category. Her story is not just one of extraordinary skill, but of timing, courage, and an unrelenting willingness to carry weight. She did not merely arrive during a pivotal moment in women's basketball. She became the sound of that moment, the snap of the net, the collective inhale before a deep three, the sudden belief that something unforgettable was about to happen. From the earliest days of her life in West Des Moines, Iowa, basketball was not a casual interest. It was a constant. Clark did not treat the game as a pastime or an identity to be discovered later. It was present before ambition had language. Empty driveways, quiet gyms, late nights with a ball and a rim. These were not training sessions as much as conversations. Caitlin Clark spoke to the game long before the game spoke back. What separated her early was not simply talent, but intent. She did not play to pass time. She played to solve problems. How do you score when defenders overplay? How do you create space when space doesn't exist? How far is too far to shoot? These questions were not theoretical. She answered them in real time, through repetition, failure, and relentless curiosity. Where others practiced shots, Clark practiced decisions. Her competitive environment sharpened that edge. She played against boys, older players, anyone willing to step onto the court. Not out of defiance, but out of necessity. She wanted resistance. She wanted discomfort. She wanted to know what it felt like to be guarded hard, bumped off spots, doubted. Those moments did not discourage her. They taught her how to respond. As her reputation grew in Iowa's basketball-rich culture, expectations followed quickly. Gyms filled. Attention intensified. Records accumulated. But Clark did not perform as though she were chasing validation. She played with command, understanding not just what she could do, but what the moment required. Her scoring bursts were explosive, but her passing was just as intentional. She understood flow. She understood momentum. She understood that leadership could be quiet or loud depending on circumstance. High school success, however, is often an unreliable predictor of higher-level dominance. The game changes. Defenders close faster. Schemes tighten. Margins disappear. Yet when Clark stepped into the collegiate environment at the University of Iowa, she did not shrink. She expanded. From her first season, it was clear that she was not merely adapting to college basketball. She was stretching its boundaries. Defensive game plans designed for conventional shooters collapsed against her range. Shots taken several feet beyond the three-point line, once considered desperation, became calculated weapons. Clark's shooting was not reckless. It was rehearsed. Each attempt came from thousands of repetitions, from trust and mechanics honed under pressure. Defenses faced impossible choices: extend and risk being beaten off the dribble, or sag and surrender points. Either way, Clark dictated terms. Yet her scoring, as historic as it became, tells only part of the story. What truly elevated Caitlin Clark was her vision. She saw the game unfold before it happened. She read defenders' hips, rotations, and hesitations with surgical precision. Her passes were often as audacious as her shots, threaded through narrow windows, delivered at exact moments when advantage peaked. Teammates learned to move with confidence because they trusted her awareness. Playing with Clark meant playing with clarity. As her college career progressed, Clark became the gravitational center of women's basketball. Viewership surged. Arenas sold out. Conversations changed. Fans who had never watched a women's game tuned in, not out of obligation, but fascination. Clark made the sport feel urgent. Every game felt like an event. Every possession felt like it could bend history. With that visibility came pressure unlike anything women's basketball had seen before. Clark was not just a player. She was a focal point in debates about respect, compensation, media coverage, and legitimacy. Every performance was scrutinized. Every gesture analyzed. Missed shots became headlines. Emotional reactions became talking points. Clark existed under a microscope rarely applied evenly across genders. What defined her response was resolve. She did not retreat. She did not dilute her game to appease critics. She continued to play with confidence, emotion, and authenticity. She understood that visibility carries responsibility, but she refused to confuse responsibility with silence. Her fire was part of her excellence. To remove it would have been dishonest. Records began to fall with regularity. Career scoring marks once thought untouchable became milestones along her journey. Yet Clark never framed herself as chasing history. Her focus remained present. Who was guarding her tonight? What adjustment would the defense make? How could she help her team win this possession? That grounding insulated her from distraction. Caitlin Clark's style of play challenged long-standing assumptions about women's basketball. She played boldly. She shot without hesitation. She expressed emotion openly. In doing so, she disrupted outdated expectations of how women were supposed to compete and present themselves. Her confidence unsettled those uncomfortable with women occupying space unapologetically. But discomfort, in this case, was a sign of progress. Criticism followed, often unfairly framed. Questions about demeanor, sportsmanship, and attitude surfaced. Criticisms rarely applied equally across the sport. Clark responded not with defensiveness, but with performance. Her game spoke. Her consistency answered. Over time, even skeptics were forced to acknowledge that what they were witnessing was not arrogance, but excellence. Beyond the court, Clark became a reference point for young athletes. Girls saw possibility not just in her success, but in her style. She did not mold herself into something more acceptable. She trusted that being herself, competitive, emotional, driven, was enough. That representation mattered. It expanded the range of what young athletes believed they were allowed to be. As her collegiate chapter neared its conclusion, the conversation shifted toward the professional future. Transition brings uncertainty. The WNBA would demand physicality, endurance, and adaptation. But nothing about Clark's journey suggested fragility. She had never relied on ease. She thrived under resistance. Her readiness was not measured by guarantees, but by mindset. Culturally, Caitlin Clark arrived at a moment when women's basketball was poised for growth, but still fighting for consistency in attention and investment. She did not create that movement, but she accelerated it. Sponsors followed audiences. Media followed moments. Clark created both through authenticity rather than strategy. What makes Clark's story resonate is not just success, but honesty. She did not pretend pressure was absent. She acknowledged nerves. She acknowledged responsibility. But she never allowed those acknowledgments to paralyze her. Instead, they sharpened her focus. She played with the awareness that she was part of something larger, without allowing that awareness to overshadow the joy of competition. At its core, Caitlin Clark's journey is about trust. Trust in preparation, trust in instinct, trust in self. She trusted the thousands of unseen hours. She trusted the work done when no one was watching. That trust allowed her to take shots others wouldn't, to make passes others couldn't, to carry moments others avoided. Her influence continues to ripple outward. Young players mimic her range. Coaches rethink spacing. Fans recalibrate expectations. The sport itself feels slightly different. More daring, more expressive, more willing to take risks. Clark did not just raise the ceiling. She raised belief. Caitlin Clark is not defined solely by numbers, though they are historic. She is defined by impact. By the way she made people lean forward in their seats. By the way she made women's basketball feel inevitable rather than conditional. By the way she embraced pressure and transformed it into fuel. Her story is still being written. Professional chapters remain unwritten. Championships await pursuit. But already, Caitlin Clark has left an imprint that will outlast seasons. She showed what happens when talent meets courage at exactly the right moment in time. When the ball leaves her hands from deep beyond the arc, there is a pause, a collective breath, followed by sound. The net snaps. The crowd erupts. And in that moment, it is clear, this is not just a shot. It is a statement. Caitlin Clark's journey reminds us that greatness does not ask permission. It arrives prepared, confident, and willing to carry the weight of the moment. Thank you for watching. If you appreciate long-form tributes that explore the deeper impact of athletes who changed the game, please like, share, and subscribe for more.